Shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Manatazak with GMS Ancient of Days in Los Angeles, currently teaching with the Akim in Sherman Oaks. And today, through the Spirit, I want to do a lesson that's going to be a response to the movie The Long Walk that just came out. That's based off a novel by Stephen King. Now, before I begin the lesson, I am going to say this is going to be a spoiler warning. Okay, because of the nature of this lesson, the context of this lesson, I'm going to be going into spoilers in the movie. And I also added in the thumbnail of this video that there's a spoiler warning. So just letting you Akim and Akwat know that during the duration of this lesson, I will be giving spoilers of the movie that correlate and correspond with the scriptures. Okay, so without further ado, I just want to give a brief summary of the movie, a quick synopsis, just to set the context. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. Now, the movie The Long Walk basically takes place in a dystopian USA. When I say dystopian, basically it's like a world similar to like Hunger Games, where it's I don't want to say lawlessness, but a great catastrophe has taken place that's changed the face of the world, okay, for the worse, okay, and it's under a totalitarian regime, okay, and every year 50 teenage boys, basically one boy per state, are selected for something that's called the Long Walk. And it's basically a contest, okay? But this particular contest is one where you walk continuously along a fixed route, okay, at 3 miles per hour. And I thought that was spiritual, that they have to keep a 3 mile per hour pace, because the number 3 reminded me of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Okay. Now, that may be a reach by me saying that, but numbers are spiritual. Okay. I believe the number 1 goes into knowledge, the number 2 goes into wisdom, and the number 3 goes into understanding. The rules of the contest are you can't fall below pace, so you have to stay at 3 miles per hour or above, but you can't go below, and you get 3 warnings, okay, if you go below 3 miles per hour, okay, and after 3 warnings you're executed by the soldiers. And during this walk there's no rest, so you have to walk day and night continuously, okay, until there's only 1 contestant left. Okay. Now, the main protagonist of this movie was a character named Ray Garrity, okay, and the other was Peter McVrise, okay, and these two formed a bond and a friendship during this journey of theirs. But I thought that the fact that the two protagonists' names were Ray and Peter were spiritual in of itself. Because you go to the etymology of the word Ray, it has roots derived from the Germanic name elements Rajan, which means counsel, and Mund, Rajan Mund, okay, was the original Germanic name, and Mund means protector. So the meaning of Ray from the Germanic roots is a counsel, protection, counsel, or mighty protection. Okay, now that same word Ray in English and Old French origin, from the word Rai, meaning king, okay, and that's beautiful, because even in Latin, I believe the word Ray goes into a light, or to a king, okay. And the etymology of Peter, we all know, for the Greek name Petros, means rock or stone, and that was the head apostle. His name was changed to Peter. So you got 2 main characters with spiritual names, okay? Now, Ray has a motive. His main motive in this movie is to get revenge for his father, who was executed by the Major. And the Major is basically the main authority, the main antagonist of this film. And Ray's father was executed for political reasons, for basically prophesying and speaking out against the totalitarian government. He reminded me of the prophets, basically trying to bring truth to the people, and he was executed. Okay, and basically Ray enters this contest because he intends to use his wish, which is basically a prize. The winner of the long walk gets unlimited amounts of money and wealth and fame, and they also get a wish. Okay, and he's going to use that wish to kill the major and basically avenge his father. Okay, now this whole thing is broadcasted worldwide, like a 24-hour event. So you have these tanks and these soldiers following these kids 24/7, basically filming and recording everything for the entertainment of the rest of the world. And of course, because of the premise of the story, many died during the walk from different things, from exposure, exhaustion, mental breakdowns, violence. Okay, but through it all, they all experienced different forms of camaraderie as well. Grief, loyalty, guilt. Okay, and the hope of winning this contest for their own personal reasons. All of this under extreme duress. Okay, so it was a very interesting and entertaining movie. I'll admit, I haven't read the book, but just the movie in of itself, the whole movie, just scriptures and precepts were popping through my mind. And I want to fire off a couple of them now. I believe I've talked long enough, but I want to begin in Luke 14, verse 28. Luke chapter 14, verse 28. And this is red letter. This goes into the cost of being a disciple. It says, and this is red letter, so these are the words of Yahushua. It says, "For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest happily, after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him." Okay, saying this man began to build and was not able to finish. Now, the reason I brought this out is because the participants in this contest enter a lottery randomly. Okay, so they willingly put their name in this contest. Okay, they're not forced to do it. They make a conscious decision to basically put their name in this lottery for their state in hopes of being chosen, because they believe that they could outlast every other participant. And that's just like this truth, where you have to make a conscious decision to follow Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay, and we know the road before us is not going to be easy, but we are required to finish the race once we put our hand to the plow. Because if you put your hand to the plow and look it back, as the scriptures say, you're not fit for the kingdom of heaven, and you're going to be cast off. So you really have to consider, okay, do you have what it takes in the spirit to endure until the end? Okay, and we're going to stay in the book of Luke. Let's jump to chapter 9 to get that precept since I mentioned it. Luke 9 and 62. Okay, and this is also red letters. This is Yahushua. It says, "And Yahushua said unto him," and this is under the headline, "What it takes to follow Yahushua." It says, "And Yahushua said unto him, No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High." Okay, so you have to understand that once you step foot on this course, okay, you're required to finish your particular race. All right, let's get Matthew 7 and 13. Also red letter. It says, "Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat." Okay. It says, "Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it." Okay, and when you go into that word straight, it's not talking about a straight line. It's talking about a degree of difficulty. Okay, a degree of difficulty, meaning the road that we travel is going to be rough, but we're expected to endure and to overcome. Okay, let's get Philippians 2 and 12. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. It says, which reads, "Wherefore, my beloved," let's see. Yeah. Yeah. It says, wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And that's very important, because at the end of the day, no matter what friendships or bonds that you forge in this truth, you can't save the next man. And you don't know what the end all be all of his story is. The only person you can really worry about and be responsible for is yourself. And you see that theme play out constantly through the movie, you know, as these contestants begin to, you know, form bonds and friendships and, you know, try to support and care for each other. But at the end of the day, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Okay, and you have no choice but to keep moving forward. All right. Let's get Hebrews 12, beginning at the top. Yeah, this is a very spiritual movie, and I recommend all Akim to see it. Hebrews 12, the headline reads, we must persevere in faith. Okay, and this is where we're going to start at the top. It says, wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses. Okay, so the world knows about us preaching the word, and they're all watching. Just as everybody's watching these 50 contestants compete against each other until there was one remaining. The whole world knows what we do. They know where we're at and what we teach and what we believe in. Okay, the internet has done a lot of the heavy lifting, and although we're being blackballed and shadow banned, the truth cannot be hid. Okay, it says, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Okay, it says, looking unto Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand on the throne of the Most High. So even the afflictions that Yahushua went through, he endured all that because of the joy set before him. And that was one of the main motivations of these 50 contestants, was the prize, the money, the wish that they will receive at the end of this chastisement that they had to go through. And they were willing to risk their life to receive that. Okay, and are we not doing the same thing? Are we not forfeiting our own lives and hazarding our own lives, coming into this truth, going out into the highways and hedges, making our bodies a living sacrifice, right? Which is our reasonable service. Okay, it parallels the walk and the journey of the elect. Okay, and in this movie, the walk is literally a race set before them. Okay, so in terms of us in this truth, the hopeful elect, Israelites must drop sin that slows them down and walk with endurance. Okay, those who pause, those who fall back, so to speak, you're going to be executed spiritually. We are required to continue and finish this race. All right, let's get Matthew 5, beginning at verse 10. Matthew 5 and 10. This is red letter. It says, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Okay, so in this movie, the participants, they all suffer persecution from the authority figures in this movie. Okay, the main character, Ray, he seeks justice. Okay, and those who suffer may have a reward. So it's encouraging, standing righteous under the current oppression. And that's what the hopeful elect are doing, standing boldly upon the names of Yahweh Shema Shai, proclaiming this gospel in the face of our enemies, right? Let's get Romans 13, beginning at the top. Romans chapter 13, the headline reads, obey the government. is Romans 13. Okay, it says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. It says, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Now, in this particular movie, the major is the head authority figure, okay? But when authority strays into tyranny, okay, us Israelites, we have to discern. So yes, we are yet this day in captivity, and as Yahushua warned, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. But we are to obey peace, but resist sin. Okay, we do not have to be conformed entirely to this world and take part in the ways and the wickedness that mold this place. We're supposed to be separate. We're supposed to be holy, right? Let's get Ecclesiastes. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 9, beginning at verse 11. And it reads, I returned and saw under the sun, this being earth, okay, that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill. But time and chance happeneth to them all. Okay, time and chance happeneth to them all, meaning basically the receiving of the kingdom. Because all nations have received a portion of rulership, but none of them have ruled in righteousness. Not as the Israelites will be once we are set up under Yahushua and King David. Okay, and we are entering into those times now. We're at the end of Esau's rulership and about to enter an age of righteousness under the Israelites. Okay, verse 12, for man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. Okay, so in the walk, any of those contestants can die at any moment. Okay, and you don't know when you're gonna fall. Are you gonna give up because you gotta catch a cramp in your leg and you can't keep pace? Are you gonna lose your mind and attack one of the soldiers and just get gunned down? Are you gonna go off course and get gunned down? There was a couple instances in the movie where, like I said, you can't stop. You got to keep a constant pace. So that means there is no sleep. There is no bathroom break. So you had these contestants defecating themselves and getting shot because they couldn't keep up the pace because they were trying to squat, and it's a very interesting movie, and it really puts into mind the seriousness of what these contestants have signed up for, and the naivety of a lot of them when they realize that there's a chance that they're actually going to die when that morality finally hits them and they realize that, man, this is serious. And that's a lot of us that are in this truth, that don't count the cost and that turn back. That's the same temperament and the same mindset that they have. Okay, they didn't realize how much would be required of them. They didn't realize how serious this is. But that's what makes this truth so beautiful, because the Lord imparted his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding onto these men that are out there on the highways and hedges, that are putting up video epistles, that are trusting, praying, and believing on the names. That is a very empowering blessing for those of us that are doing this in truth and sincerity, because the Lord didn't unveil this knowledge to just anybody. So the fact that you have it and that you understand it means that there's a chance that you could be part of that chosen number that's allotted to be delivered and receive that award. And that is definitely worth fighting for. Okay. Let's get Lamentations 3. Lamentations 3, beginning at verse 27. It says, it is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. Okay, it is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. He sitteth alone and keepeth silence, because he hath bore it upon him. So the youth bearing suffering that we go through, especially in this truth, what does it say? Seek the Lord while ye are young. Okay, this yoke, the Yahweh Shai himself said that his yoke is easy. Okay, all things considered, yeah, it's not easy while we're going through the different trials and tribulations, but all things considered, this is a light thing that we're going through. All things considered, and this is the type of suffering that shapes character. Okay, in the movie, these boys endured the yoke of walking, hunger, fear. Okay, and us in this truth, likewise, are enduring the different afflictions that are disciplined for our soul. The Lord is purging us to perfect us, not to destroy us. Okay. Let's get Job 23:10 for our next precept. Job chapter 23, verse 10, it says, "But he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold." So the walk, both in this movie and in this truth, our walk is the trial. Okay, and the hopeful elect are being tried and purified. Okay, and we're going to come forth as that pure gold if we endure. Okay, and it's the trial that we go through, okay, that reveal our true selves, our true nature. Okay, and each trial is a test that's tailor-made for that particular spirit, that particular soul. Okay, let's get Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha. Chapter 5, verse 1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors." Okay, so the righteous are going to endure afflictions. There's no way around it. Okay, and in the walk, the persecutors in the movie, in the long walk, are both physical in the form of the armed soldiers, and internal. You know, they have to deal with their own fear, their own guilt. Okay, but they're continuing on for that prize, that promise. Okay, let's get Sirach 2. We're gonna stay in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 2, beginning at the top. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thine heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble." Okay, and that's a beautiful scripture for this particular lesson, because the long walk is extreme temptation. Just as the hopeful elect waking up out of Babylon the Great and trying to live a righteous life in this wicked land, there's temptation everywhere. And in the movie, these boys had to deal with some very real scenarios. Okay, whether to quit, whether to just unalive themselves by breaking the rules. Okay, fighting through despair. So when we come into this walk, into this truth, you must needs prepare your soul. Okay, because you're going to be required to endure. All right, not rush to sin or vengeance, but to seek knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because we're supposed to put off that old man and the old way we thought, in the ways of the world, and become new creatures. Okay, let's get the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32. And this will be our closing scripture. Deuteronomy 32, verse 35. Deuteronomy 32 and 35. And it reads, "To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste." Okay, now the reason I brought this out is to show that at the end of the day, vengeance belongs to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And Ray's plan in the movie to kill the major reflects a taking on of that role. Okay, now scripture warns to let Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai handle vengeance in due time. Okay, and then stepping in, bears cost. That's part of tempering your spirit. Okay. I don't want to give too much away in the movie. I feel like I've given enough away, but this is definitely a movie worth seeing. You know, especially Brothers in the Truth. It's called The Long Walk. In summary, basically what I surmised from it after watching it and really soaking in the details of what I've seen and filtering it through the scriptures. Suffering and trials and tribulations are conditions of our walk in this faith, not signs of failure. Because a lot of people will look at the way the hopeful elect are, how we go through the same misfortunes, if you want to call it that the everyday person goes through. Okay, but we can still go out with a smile on our face and vibrant in the spirit because of the joy set before us. Okay, we understand that we are in captivity, but we also understand that we have a Savior that's going to come redeem us. We're not just sitting here stagnant in this world and trying to make it in this world. We're casting off the ways of this life in hopes of something better, a continuing city in righteousness. Okay, and we understand that the different things we go through, both physically, mentally, spiritually, is to refine our character. Okay, to allow us to continue to walk in righteousness and, Lord willing, be delivered when we cross that proverbial finish line. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. This has been your brother Manatazak. Until the next lesson, Shalom.